Hi, Joe Cerrone.
Al Rosen.
Welcome to CAD 134. This is our weekly Zoom meeting. Today we're going to go over class policy and procedures. So every week we will have this Zoom meeting at 9 a.m. on Tuesdays. And students are to download and install the software. If you have any difficulty with installing the software, you can click on this link right here. And you can talk to our desktop technician, Matt Wong. He's excellent and can assist you with any difficulty you may have. If you are downloading the software, they have a Windows-based software and a Mac-based software. We recommend putting the Windows partition on because the videos that we create are done on Windows computers and the interface looks a little bit different. We have the outline of topics over here on the side. And so as we go through and we start to work with the course, about every 2 weeks, we have the assignment due. And so once we get things started, then every week you'll have something different that's due. And so as we look at it, we're going to follow the textbook. If we go here to the content tab, and then if we look at the course, let's see, table of contents, we'll start at the top. Here's our course syllabus. And Al Rosen and I will be teaching the course. You can email us here at these two email addresses. It's our first course in computer-aided design for interior design. What we were finding is Al and I have been teaching these courses for so long that we have this general design type course, which is our basic AutoCAD, but we were having a lot of interior designers getting into CAD. And so we wanted a course that was specifically with assignments toward that. So we developed this about 12 years ago, I believe. And so we've been running the course ever since. We do work with plot plans, floor plans, electrical plans, elevations, etc. And so it's really geared towards somebody who wants to do floor plans and elevations and just visual things for home design. So learning objectives, we can do some three-dimensional. It depends on how far we want to get into it. The course is very project-based. Academic integrity, I don't think we need to go too far into that. As far as the textbook goes, we're using this 2015, and it's a great book. We really wanted to go with the 2021 on some of the newer books, but this book is really well laid out. And so you can find the book on Amazon. Looks like we've got the 2014 in there, but if you Google it, I'm sure you'll be able to find it. And the book basically follows the chapters. And so we'll be going through that today. Evaluation is straight 90, 80, 70, 60 as we go through the points. Try to get the submissions on time or you'll have a late fee for the course. If you have any documented physical or disabilities or any problems at all, there's plenty of support for you here at Oakton. And we like to feel that Oakton's a safe place that supports all students. So that's our syllabus. If we come back here to the table of contents and we take a look at the sequence of topics, our sequence of topics.
I have a question, Joe, sorry, about the book, because I saw that we can view the book also online. Is there a real need for me to purchase the book, or do you think I can just use the online one?
You could use the online one. We put it in there because a lot of times students don't get the book on time anyway, but definitely you could use all of that. We just have to be careful about how much content we put into the D2L course shell. So yes, you can.
Okay, thank you.
So in our outline of topics, we just go chapter by chapter. We have a midterm. And Al, I think we pushed this midterm to after the break, but we can tighten this up as we go through it, as this is our first week. But each week we'll cover different chapters. And so in the beginning, if nobody's had any AutoCAD, we want to make sure that we cover the basic settings. things like how to draw with lines, circles, arcs, things like how to draw with layers, just basically nuts and bolts of how to work with AutoCAD. And again, that's kind of why we developed the course for interiors, because we were finding that that was the thing that people needed most, is how to dimension, how to make a drawing look professional. So we have that pretty much incorporated into the course. Spring break is in the middle of March. So March 15th to the 21st, we will not hold a class. And then we will have a number of different projects for the course. We'll go through everything from a furniture installation plan to isometric and three-dimensional drawing. And then we have a project that we will work on for the class, which is going to be, we have a couple of them, and Al and I usually like to poll the students whether we're going to do there's a cabin design, and then there's a residential or a commercial bank design. And we like all of them. There's some just really cool projects in there. And so we'll incorporate those as we move along with the course. So that's our sequence of topics. And then as we start to go into the course, we have it laid out. If you haven't downloaded the software, here's the link to get the software. And so from the sounds of the way we're running the meeting, most people have the software installed and downloaded. If you don't, you can go to that main splash page and you can contact the help desk for additional help. Al has templates in here. These are our AutoCAD templates for drawing, and we'll touch on those. Same with these. Here's our textbook. And so we've scanned in the first few chapters. If we take a look at the first chapter, you can download that. And so the chapters go through, and we'll start with the interface. And as we start to work with it, Al and I will start to incorporate that. We have a PowerPoint already for this chapter, but the textbook is really quite good. What I like about it is they incorporate a lot of learning examples, because it's really dry going through and just following directions like a cookbook here. You kind of want to know why you're doing it, but things like being able to set up the display grids and snaps, they're more meaningful if we kind of tie them into videos. And so Al and I will be doing a lot of videos for the class. I'm going to leave this on the screen and kind of come back to it here. If we go to chapter 1, every week Al and I will have a chapter in the D2L module that we'll introduce. And so our first chapter is on the user interface. And I'm going to download this PowerPoint and we're going to go through it. There it goes. Okay. So, Al, how do we want to go through this? Do you want to do the talking and then I'll do some of the driving, or should I continue?
Whatever you like. It's up to you. We can combination of both. That's okay, like we always do.
Okay, well then I'll let you do some of the talking and I'll just kind of scroll through things. You can just tell me next slide.
Okay. You want to show them how to open up AutoCAD for a minute?
Sure.
Yeah, hopefully.
So to start AutoCAD, you'll hit it on the start arrow and then it'll be under AutoCAD. I've got the 2021 version, but you just click on the big red A and then it'll launch the software. I've got mine already started and opened, and I've got this first assignment right here. If you do start with new, you will have a template that you can use. One of the things that we'll be doing is to use a template. I'm just going to go and choose the default ACAD.
And I know mostly looking at it go like, that doesn't look like AutoCAD for Mac. Unfortunately, you are correct.
Right. So up at the top here, we have the ribbon. And so the ribbon has these home commands, these insert, annotate. Should we talk about those, Al?
Yeah, well, let's try just getting up and running and see if we can see how to show them how to use a line command and how to use the cursor and where the cursor goes and X, Y, and Z coordinates possibility. Go over to X, Y first, and maybe if we have time, go over to Z, and then go over maybe how to modify or where modify is, or click on it, how to delete or stretch or move every command without going through multiple commands to do so.
So we'll do a 10-minute interface part of this video, and I'll try not to get too carried away or the videos get too long. So as we look at this, Al, you can kind of walk me through some of the interface. I think we talked about some of that. That would be kind of fun. And so here's our basic drawing, and then here's our ribbon. And so on our ribbon, we have our home tab where we have our draw commands, and then we have modify, which would be to change an existing drawing entity, annotation, which is text, dimensions, layers. Layers are like transparencies that we can turn on and off. And so we can have these different layers. The default is layer 0. And then there's just a number of other functions like properties, analysis tools, etc. Down here on the bottom is the command prompt. Back in the day, everything was very word orientated. So you can type in the commands. So I could type in line, and it'll give me all the commands that have the word line in it. If I select line, and then I click on the screen, I can start to draw. If I right mouse click, I can hit enter. Down here at the bottom of the screen, say that?
We can't see it on the bottom of the screen.
Okay. Can you see this right here?
Nope.
How about now? Can you see this?
Yes. Perfect. Beautiful.
Terrific. So down here at the bottom, what are these called here? So they kind of updated it. They used to have the words down here in the status bar, like OSNAP, Polar, Ortho, and they changed it to glyphs. And so as we start to work with this, that's sort of, you have to hover. And so as I hover, I can turn on and off the grid. A grid is like graph paper, and I can turn on and off the snap. And snap is really helpful because you can get the measurements to line up perfectly. Go ahead, Alan.
Okay. So as they go across, there's a green line going across. It's called a rubber effect, orthographical effect, that allows you to hit the lengthy V. And as you can tell, there looks like 2 arrows on either side, and the dimension is highlighted in blue. As Joe is moving the cursor up or a mouse up, you can see it's now changing into an angle that also goes along with it. So you can put an angle and a length at any one time. So even if Joe drew a line, draw a line, left click please, and it tells him where it is, and let's say he stopped and hit escape real quick. Escape is your best buddy right now, because anything goes wrong, hit escape and stops. But I want to change and modify that line. Really easy. If I just hover over a line, it highlights. See it highlighting darker or green or whatever it calls, depends on what layer you're on. If I left click on it, it highlights and also has blue squares. Those are called grips. The one at each end is endpoint grips that you can grab as you hover over. It has told you the length, tells you the angle. As Joe's moving, the rubber band effect moves, and you can then adjust it how you like it. The one in the center, if you left click, it turns red, and you can move it wherever you want. You can also shorten it. So if you left click on a top endpoint and go down, it also shortens it or lengthens it, depending on what you want to do. You go like here, and I want to go to that point there. I left click. I go to add in point, left click, and I join the two one. Go.
Yes, sir. So we can erase the grips by hitting the escape key. Basic line and draw functions. And so as we go through and we look at these different things like line commands, it has a coordinate display on it. And so one of the good things about CAD is that everything kind of ties in to an XY0 location. And so one part of the textbook will talk about coordinates. We don't use them as much in the interiors course as we do in the mechanical course, but everything has like an origin and a unit. And so as we look at this button here in the right-hand corner, if I want to put on my coordinates, I can click on this top button right here. And this little, I think they call it a cheeseburger now. I don't think it looks like one. I had to Google it, but that's what they're calling it. So you click on the cheeseburger and then you can turn on these different icons that are going to be displayed down here. And here at the bottom is showing my X, Y, and Z coordinates. Switching back to our PowerPoint. So that's our interface. There's a lot of different navigation bars and things like that. And as I said, we're going to do this in a 10-minute video. So we're going to kind of go through some of these things in a quick manner. As far as being able to set things up in the options, we'll come back to this. We can right mouse click and set these different options. Actually, I'll just go power through it. So if I come here and I right mouse click and I go to options, one of the things that we like to do, I like to work the file tabs from left to right. It just adds some standardization. On the file tab, it has things like where the automatic save location is. This is good to know so that when you're saving your files, it'll create an automatic backup for you. On the display command, we like to use the colors, and very often we'll set the background color for 2D model space to white. By default, it's black. If I go and I change it and show you what that looks like, this might be how your CAD looks like out of the box. Right mouse click, options, display, colors. These are your environments or workspaces. And I'm going to go back to white. And the reason I use the white background is that it shows up good against the drawing colors that we use in the layers. So in the layers, we'll use blue and green versus if you use colors like yellow and cyan, they show up better against the black background versus a white background. So that's our options. And there's a number of other things as far as opening and saving. If you're using an older version of AutoCAD or sending it, we recommend you dial down the save option. 2018 is pretty good. You can bring it back to 2013 or all the way back to 2000. But if you save it as a 2018 file and you send it to somebody who has 2016, they won't be able to open the newer file. So just something to consider. You can save these things back. And then some of these other options, I think we'll get into at a later point. So that's our drawing colors, and I just went through and displayed how I changed the background colors. Applications menu, or the big red A, has the ability to create drawings, open drawings, save drawings, export drawings, print drawings, publish drawings. So if we go into that, I can go and I can open a drawing. I hit the big red A. I can say open. I'll get a history here. I go and I open some of my drawings. So here's my bank floor plan, one of the projects I really like. And so this is an example of some of the work that we'll be doing. It's got a bank manager. We'll put in the floor plan with the blocks. Blocks are like templates. There's no reason to draw every individual piece of furniture. We can draw one and then insert it into drawing multiple times. And CAD does a great job of being able to do things like add part numbers or be able to put what they call attributes onto the drawings. And so that we can generate automatically a list of furniture that we need to purchase.
Go back a minute ago, just real quick.
Go ahead.
go back to AutoCAD real quick, please.
Sure.
And as we see AutoCAD right there, let's say you're working on a drawing and for some reason you want, another drawing, go brand new one. All that Joe has to do is go up to big red A and say new, hover over and just, there it is. And if you want to go templates or someplace else, it comes up. If you want to use one of our templates, which we like you to use, because there's a lot of them there, all you just click on it and it's comes right up.
Yeah, so this would be like a mechanical title block. Let's choose an architectural one. This is very similar to the one that we use. And then if we use the templates that are in D2L, we can go here to this ARC templates, and then we can download these and then open them. So if you're working for the Oakton company, which you guys are, you'll be able to get this floor plan, and it opens up in model space. But if I click on these tabs, and this is like in Excel, where you have these tabs across the bottom, you can then open these different pages of the title block. And so we essentially can put together like a book of different drawings. And so if I go and I look at our previous drawing, and you see the drawings are all open here across these tabs. And so here's my bank plan. And then here's the vault door. It's on its own title block, layout, furniture plan. And this was done by Gene back in the day. So we have the ability to kind of frame our drawings with title blocks, and we'll go through how to do those things. There's a lot of different ways to input line commands and things like that. Here's the ribbon. You can right mouse click almost anywhere and get some additional commands, but anything with like a little arrow down means there's more to expand these panels. The bigger the button, the more often you use it. So big button for line, small button for arc, small button for polygon, helix, things like that. And so they have all these dialog boxes that we'll get used to using. Anything with this little corner button right here means that it's like a template to a setting. And so when we start to work with dimensions, there's what they call dimension styles, like a template for a word processing package where you have certain fonts and certain paper sizes and things like that. And so they have these flyouts on the commands as well, which give you other options for those commands. And they'll group similar commands like the rectangle command with the polygon command, because they're both polygons, or the ellipse command with different types of ellipses that you can draw. As we work with the command line, you'll see, and we talked a little bit about it, it's that little square at the bottom, allows you to type things in. Quick access toolbars are done with the right mouse click. Customization, you can customize everything. And so we do this show menu bar. We like to use the pull downs, but there's a number of other things that we can do with that also. And then there's toolbars. And so we will go through and add and dock and customize the interface. One of the things that we like to do is to do 3D modeling. So we'll turn on the modeling toolbar. And that way we can work within the two-dimensional interface and add some of the three-dimensional elements without changing the way the whole screen looks. As we talked about the coordinate system, this is the X and Y axis. And that's the thing about CAD that allows us to do things like 3D printing, be able to calculate out areas, because everything correlates to real world values and numbers. So if I were to go back to the bank drawing and I wanted to look at one of the rooms, I can measure things. And so I could say, well, how big is the manager's office? I can go to measure, distance, and then I can come over here and hover. And then as I go through, I can analyze the drawings. And so this is 16 feet, 6 inches. And then I can come over this way and I can hover by 13 feet, 11 inches. And then I can say, well, will my furniture fit through the door? This is a problem that has happened to us here at the college before. And so I can say, oh, that's kind of narrow. maybe we should open this up. So there's a lot of analysis options that we can go through and work with within the CAD system. And those are made possible by the coordinate system. Visual styles allow us to take and look at three-dimensional objects and different shaded and different types of things. So if we come back here and we look at something, see if I have anything 3D. And so here's an example. If we were meeting in person, this is where we would be. This is the Skokie campus, and this is our drafting lab in room P134. And this is where Al usually sits, right here on Sundays. This is our office. You can kind of walk in through the door here. And this is what we really like about CAD, is that we have the ability to render out these different scenarios. This is a drafting board. And then if I look at the different visual styles, I can change to a wireframe. And so a wireframe would be sort of transparent, where we can see through everything. And then I can go through conceptual. AutoCAD is a very artistic tool. So you can do things, I kind of like this sketchy, kind of looks like a pencil drawing. And you can actually kind of get it so it looks like you don't really know if somebody's drawing this with a pencil or with a computer. It's one of the things I like about AutoCAD. It has a lot of artistic visual elements. But we do quite a bit of nuts and bolts type of thing in this course. And so as we go through, we're showing you how to set things up, and that would be how to do the visual styles. The view cube is another way to go through and look at things from different angles. We come back here to our drawing. This is our view cube. And so we can go and we can grab this and kind of spin it. I'm not real good with it. I play a lot of video games. I have a son, he's up at NIU now, but him and I were quite good with Halo. And so if you push the middle mouse wheel, you can rotate. And we can put up some models later on in the course that we can work on. If we go into some of the later chapters in the book, we can go through and model things like tables, chairs, and furniture. Navigation bar, it's another way of doing some of the same things. And then here's our resources for AutoCAD. And so they have like these different, there's tons of different content and applications that can be added to AutoCAD. So if you go out on the internet and you want to get some symbols for furniture, you can Google furniture AutoCAD blocks, and it'll give you a whole list of different blocks, and people put them up. Some of them charge content, other ones are free. Here's our status bar. We talked a little bit about our status bar. We'll get into that more as we do our drawings. And this is our, what they call object snaps. And so when we go through and we create the drawings, and I'll show a video of how to do that. We have videos on how to do the assignments. We'll use object snap, and I think our third one. Model space and paper space. When we draw things, we do the majority of the drawing in model space. Model space is considered an infinite drawing board. And paper space can be thought of as like a frame for our border. And so when we go and we look at our Skokie campus here, this is model space. We created everything in full-blown 3D. This is our chair for our people who don't behave themselves. We put them outside. But if I go through and I click on these tabs, this is now the paper space. And what we have is what they call viewports that we toggle to model space. And they're kind of like books as we get into it. And so we can look at some of the other drawings, like the drawings that we're going to do with these exercises, where we'll draw them in model space. Okay, and so here's our menu bar. You can show the menu bar. And then if we exit AutoCAD, you can just click on the exit button. And so as I take a look at it, that will be our first area. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back here, we'll end it on our bank plan. If I were to exit AutoCAD, I could click here and I could just type close and it will allow me to exit out of the program. All right, Al, I'm going to end this video. Is there anything we want to add before I stop this one? And then we can start to make another video if we need to for some of the other content.
No, that's about it. I think what we need to do is go over here and complete it and go over our assignments and our chapters right now.
Very good. I thought so too. So I'm going to stop the video, the recording, and then we'll take a minute to see if anybody has any questions, and then we'll continue on. So this ends video number 1 for CAD 134.